Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Cut to the Chase Sports Podcast. It's been a long time coming. It's July. Welcome back, man. This is exciting. We're here in studio. Brady King right next to me. Brady, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Excited to be back. There's quite a few topics to talk about, even though it's summer. There's some good topics out. Obviously, today is a big day with the new game coming out, and just ready to be back. It's been a while, so yeah.
Matt Ricketts.
What's
over
going on,
right.
ladies and gentlemen? Big Ricky is back. We are back. NCAA 25 is out. Well, it's not even called NCAA anymore, is it?
It's
Is it
EA
called EA?
college football.
EA college football is out.
College football 25, man. It's out, man.
What a game. What a scene for all the players, all the money they're getting out of it. You know, It's going to be great for college football. It's just getting me even more excited for August 1st when we start reporting to camp and everything. It's going to be great.
We're not far away from that, man. We are looking at 17 days out from when this episode drops. And, you know, if you guys are watching this video, like, subscribe to us on YouTube, and we'll drop the audio for this video and everything else. And we appreciate the support that we've had for over 3 years now as we enter season 5 of the show. Matt, season 3 for him.
Yes.
Brady's been with me from the start. This is going to be a very exciting fall. And again, we were talking about the college football game, college football 25 video game that just dropped not too long ago. Man, nostalgia rush right there. Matt,
100%.
so what was one of your favorite moments playing the college football game back in the day?
I remember the Vince Young. It'd be 2006 NCAA. Me and Caleb, his brother, used to play it all the time, and Vince Young was so damn good in that game, dude. You run speed option, and you couldn't tackle him.
Yeah.
And then a couple years later, a team that was really good was West Virginia with Pat White and Steve Slayton running the spread offense, dude.
Yeah.
Illinois was good with Juice Williams, Brashard Mendenhall, and Aurelius Ben was. Those 3 guys were really good.
Yeah.
Just all the spread offense teams back in the day, dude. If you knew how to play with those guys, you could run circles with the quarterback just around people, and it would just be awesome. I mean, so those are 2 of the classic memories I have from
Brady, for you, what's a moment or like what game did you enjoy most from the college football series?
My favorite one, just because I've played it for so long, is just for the last one, 14,
right, yeah.
because it's been, the game that I've played for 10 years now, because there's nothing else to play.
You got used to it over time.
And so I've made so many dynasties and road to glories, all that on there. I just like making my own player and putting them in to a random team in a dynasty, making because you could customize everybody, obviously, and I would make a 6'8" quarterback that ran 99 speed and 99 accuracy and throw power. And, that was obviously cheating. So that really, I wouldn't say that was my favorite, but just making your own character and playing in that game was always cool.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously they changed up some of the road to glory stuff and all that, and the dynasty modes. I know now you can export your player. They don't have it in high school now, but they can export your player after college to the National Football League in the Madden 25 game, which is very interesting. It's a different switch. I enjoyed the high school aspect of things when we had that, but my favorite memory, I remember this was when I was very young. It was the PS2. You remember that far back, Matt?
Yes.
The PS2.
That was the Vince Young game was on PS2.
But you know what one I'm going to be talking about?
The
Reggie Bush one.
Okay, so that was the one after
NCAA football 07.
It's the one after.
Yes, I would.
6 was the one I was talking about.
I would spam the hell out of Reggie Bush on that game.
That was a fun game.
Yeah. Vince Young wasn't on the cover in 6. It was Desmond Howard. That's right.
Yeah, it was Desmond Howard.
That's right. Yeah.
And that was dude, I used to play that so much.
Yeah, man.
And then 08 with Matt Ryan.
That's Boston College, Matt Ryan.
Dude, 08 with Matt Ryan that was the game with Pat White and Steve Slayton and all those spread offenses, dude. It was awesome.
Yeah, man. It's a good time. I actually have NCAA 13 right below is over to my left, and I'll get that out here in a little bit. But I mean, the game is back. It's gonna be fun to play and everything else when you get the console and all. Brady's talking about getting this console here pretty soon. And me and Matt got to upgrade our systems and all.
I would have already bought the game if you could get it on PS4.
That's what I'm saying.
But now I'm like, I got Buckeye tickets I got to buy here soon. So I'm like, I'm going to wait. But then I'm like, Hey, Mom, can I get an early Christmas gift?
Christmas in July, you would
used
say.
to be back in the day.
Yeah.
Like, hey, can I get like $300 early Christmas gift? You know, but whatever. I'll get it eventually. But Bills suck.
Man, but yeah, for all you people that are playing college football 25 right now that got it on the early release and the deluxe edition, man, I hope you guys are having such a great time on that. And we'll be right with you guys here pretty soon in that regard. But, speaking of Matt getting, Buckeye tickets for other games, and we were talking about that stuff, there's a couple of new opponents that are going to be in the Big Ten this year, and a couple of new opponents in all of these conferences. We're talking about the Big Ten being a big one, with Washington and Oregon and UCLA and USC entering the Big Ten. I think we've had some discussions about this on previous episodes. And then the Big 12 having their own shift and everything. Arizona, Arizona State, Colorado, and Utah making their way over to the Big 12. So I'll see a couple of new opponents down there at UC this year. And then the ACC, Cal and Stanford making that cross-country journey, and then you throw in SMU. But then the biggest cash cow of them all, I would say, making their conference jump, Texas and Oklahoma to the SEC. Now, let's start with Texas and Oklahoma and the SEC, all right? Oklahoma, they've been okay over the last couple of years. I know Brent Venables the head coach and all, but Texas being the big one. They made it to the college football playoff last year. They're coming into a tough conference in the SEC. How are they going to fare in this one, Brady?
I think they're going to be really good. I do.
Brady, Matt, I don't even know.
Oh, but sorry.
It's completely fine. You got it,
I think they're going to be really good. I mean, I think they have a chance to win the league. I think obviously Georgia's probably the favorite in most people's eyes, in my eyes. But I do think Texas has the talent. Sark has done a great job of, kind of revitalizing that program, getting them and moving in the right direction. Oklahoma's kind of taking a step back after Lincoln Riley, but Brett Venables, I think, is going to continue to move Oklahoma in the right direction. I don't think they're going to be quite back yet. Yeah. But I think they'll be better than they were last year. So, but I think Texas has a chance to be right there in the thick of everything this year.
Yeah, I mean, obviously with Quinn Ewers at quarterback and some of the additions they made in the transfer portal is going to be very big. Brady, your thoughts on Texas? Because I remember we were talking about Texas last year, and they made the college football playoff and everything, and you were high on Quinn Ewers last offseason. But how do you feel about him right now?
I'm lower on Quinn Ewers than I was last offseason, but I'm higher on Texas than I was last offseason. I think they'll be good. They'll be just fine in that league. I think they're definitely the second best team going into the season for sure. I think that they have a chance. I mean, they play Georgia in the regular season, and that'll decide the front runner in that conference.
Texas has got a brutal schedule,
in my opinion. Yeah, they're rough schedule. They play Michigan too.
I know. We too. In Ann Arbor.
Big noon. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Texas has a ton of talent. I mean, they're really loaded on offense with Quinn Ewers, running back. They have Cedric Baxter. And Jaden Blue.
Really good.
The receivers are good with Isaiah Bond leading the charge, and then I believe Jordan Whittington came back, and then Jonte Cook come into his sophomore year, and then they just have a ton. I mean, they've recruited the O-line well. Yep. Their defense isn't atrocious. It's also not that good. They've got some good players though, like Anthony Hill, their middle linebacker, started as a freshman. He's good. So
yeah, and we can get more into more in-depth previews once we get down the way, once we get into August and stuff. And then with Oklahoma again, they're trying to make their steps back up into trying to make it back to the playoff and everything else. But just the impact really economically for Texas and Oklahoma making the playoff. What do you guys think on this one? Not even the playoff, I mean the conference of the SEC.
Oh, that's especially Texas. You would think the way the brands are that Texas would be the better program historically. They aren't, but money-wise, they're right there with Ohio State and Alabama.
Yep.
Three biggest brands. And Notre Dame.
Honestly, not even Alabama.
Right.
It's just Ohio State.
And Notre Dame is kind of up there as well, but Texas is right. I mean, they're the money that the boosters and Texas football could supply. It's just crazy.
It's insane to think, and it'll be fun to see Texas and Oklahoma try to infiltrate themselves into this big conference that we call.
It's going to be weird. I mean, you heard Nick Saban today say, "Did you guys see that?"
He said Georgia and Texas will play in the SEC championship.
Well, he also said that Texas said they always thought that they ran the conference that they were playing in, but they're not going to be able to run the SEC.
And they never ran the Big 12.
Right.
That's the funny thing.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And speaking of the Big 12, they made a couple of changes, like mentioned, with Colorado and Utah going over there, as well as Arizona State and Arizona. Utah looking like the favorite to come out of the Big 12, and then Oklahoma State up there, everything else. What's it's not great, but the new guys in this conference, especially with, let's talk about Utah real quick. Cam Rising's back, Brady.
Yes.
Year 12.
Whatever it is. He's a college
year
football
7.
veteran. Yeah. I mean,
he's eligible for year 8 too.
That's insane to think about.
This doesn't have to be his last year.
How old is he?
He came into college with Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence.
Okay, that really made me feel
2018.
I mean, he's a good player too.
He is a good player, but that
solid for sure.
He's seen a lot of defenses.
I would have rather had Cam Rising than Kyle McCord.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, we might have won the Natty last year.
Fair enough.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe so.
Again, but I mean,
hell, we could have won the Natty with. Well,
Quinn Ewers.
You just name a bunch of at this point. But again, Utah is looking like the favorite in the Big 12 media poll and everything. But a team that always gets storylines now. Colorado. They always have storylines around them and stuff.
Games, probably.
And again, for them, it's improvement, making it bowl eligible and stuff. But got a former Buckeye on that team, Dallin Hayden. What do we expect from Dallin this year, Brady?
I think he'll probably have a really good season. I know their O-line isn't great, but also the defenses they play are not great. So he's going to be, with a heavier load of carries this year. I mean, he'll be their RB1. I could definitely see 1,200 yards plus.
That would be sweet if he had a really good year.
Well, you also saw a guy in Dylan Edwards last year that had an all right season. But if you infiltrate a back like Dallin Hayden, who was an all-purpose back, he can run between the tackles, he can catch the ball.
I just love watching.
Be fun.
Colorado just play whoever. It's just fun. Yeah. I don't know why they suck, but it's just fun to listen to their idiot coach. And I don't think he's an idiot. He's just like
delusional at times.
Yeah, he's just so prime, and it's just like it's funny.
Fun taking that, yeah. And it's going to be interesting with the Big 12 again, with Colorado being on the national spotlight here. I think their first game's on a Thursday night on ESPN against North Dakota State, and then their second game is going to Lincoln, Nebraska against Dylan Rayola in Nebraska.
Colorado is the first program to leave the conference and then come back to that conference they left.
That's crazy to think.
Yeah.
I don't know that for sure. I'm just saying.
That sounds right.
Is there anybody else?
We'll get our research going on it after the episode. But they were
the Big 12 all throughout my childhood. I mean,
it's wild to think
they were in the Big 12.
It's wild to think. Like
so then they left and now they're back. So I don't think there's been a team that's left and came back.
No.
So
I don't think so either.
It's pretty wild to think about. Now the ACC, you have two teams from the entire West.
Are they coming this year?
Yes.
Stanford and Cal are this year
for ACC.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, they are this year.
I knew it was coming.
They're official.
Yes. When I saw on the schedule, we were talking about this a couple weeks ago, like Stanford versus Duke.
Oh yeah.
At noon. Come on.
You guys were forgetting about the other two that didn't get in to any of them.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk
Oregon
about
State.
Yeah, we can talk about them right now. They're just chilling by themselves right now.
They're in the conference too.
Yeah, and they had a meeting. They had a Pac-12 convention.
Those two are on a date right now.
They're
It's
in the
crazy to think.
Pac-12.
They're in the Pac-2.
That's just wild, man. I mean, and they will play some of the ACC opponents this year, I believe, and we're looking at Cal, Stanford, SMU went over there. It's just a weird look of the ACC this year, and if you guys had to take any, we'll save that for another episode. But just like the weird impact of Cal and Stanford making that West Coast jump,
it is weird.
Atlantic Coast Conference. They went from the Pacific to the Atlantic, literally.
It's weird. I thought now Stanford and Cal are a big rivalry.
Yeah.
I thought it would have been really smart for the Big Ten to go after Stanford and Notre Dame, because you're also bringing in other schools out west for Stanford, but Stanford, Notre Dame are historical too.
Yeah,
and it just brings in Notre Dame's going to have Michigan State, USC, Stanford. there's 4 of the rivals right there.
Yeah.
Even Purdue is a game that Notre Dame played historically over the years.
And they played them this year too.
Yeah, Purdue always was a game that they played. And so I thought it would have been smart for the Big Ten to go for that. But obviously we got 4, and we got a big one in Oregon. I mean, we got a big fish.
USC.
And USC. Yeah.
And that's a big topic right there. Obviously, Washington came off the national championship appearance, and obviously they lost Kalen DeBoer going to Alabama and stuff. But Oregon being the big one, USC another big fish with Lincoln Riley in there, and then UCLA just being out in Westwood and in the Rose Bowl and everything. So now you're gonna have Big Ten teams play regular season games in the Rose Bowl, but overall the Big Ten, how are they impacted overall by these West Coast teams coming out there, Matt?
I think it's awesome. I mean, you're getting the entire nation now. You get coast to coast with Rutgers and out west. I mean, it's great money wise. I mean, we're getting Nike, the big Nike money. We're getting a blue. We're also adding a blue blood program in USC, and we're adding a team that just got to the national championship, which is weird. Like it doesn't seem like it.
Yeah.
It's like any other time, if a team was leaving to join a new conference, they would be the big fish.
Yeah.
They're like the third most
fish,
talked about.
Yep.
Not necessarily because USC is better, maybe they might be, but not. It's more so just because of the history from USC, and then
and they recruit better.
And then the Oregon this year, like being a top 5 team, like it's so it's a little weird that you're not talking more about Washington. So
it is,
but then UCLA too. I mean, they're historically have obviously in the basketball realm. I mean, they're blue blood there, so it's
that's going to be the weird thing once we get past football and you have basketball and you have like
all
random
those
basketball
games during the week.
Exactly, you got 11:30 p.m. tip-offs and stuff on Peacock, and that we'll get TV deals in a second. But Brady, your quick thoughts on the West Coast and the Big Ten merging together with some of those big schools?
It's going to be really weird. I still don't almost consider Oregon as I almost feel like it's an out of conference game still, because of how weird it is. But I mean, it's a huge addition.
And why couldn't they have it on the PS4, guys? Why?
Yeah, I'm about to go drop 300 plus 300, 400, whatever dollars.
Yep.
But Oregon, I mean, probably the best team this year that's joining a new conference. They're going to be really good. And USC, obviously, blue blood. With a lot of recruiting bases over in the West Coast. We're battling Oregon for a lot more recruits than we used to.
Oh, absolutely.
And then Washington obviously is they usually are ranked most years.
Usually it's a really solid program.
They made the college football playoff twice.
And another big thing is we weren't talking about Washington a whole lot. Washington and Michigan play this year. I know it's not the biggest matchup on the planet, but it's still a national championship rematch. That's a conference game now on October the 5th. But then the following week is what a lot of people are expecting to possibly be a national championship and a Big Ten championship game preview in week number 7 between Ohio State and Oregon.
Wow. Could you imagine playing them 3 times?
Oh, man.
It's a possibility now, which is insane to think about.
It is. I mean, it is a possibility.
It's a new the landscape change in college football. Again, adding from 4 teams to 12 teams in the playoffs and these the movements and stuff. You could have these huge conference championship games of like a Texas and a Georgia or an Ohio State and Oregon, and et cetera. But the Big Ten and SEC are the 2 conferences that stand above all in that regard. You can argue with a brick wall if you think otherwise but it'll be interesting. But with the TV deals, I want to get to that real quick. Okay, so obviously the Big Ten's been on the TV deal mark with CBS, NBC, Fox for the last couple of years, but they finally take over CBS fully. How weird is that going to be?
It's going to be weird, dude. I don't know, because still got the big noon games. I just wish I'm going to miss. Or not necessarily miss. It's just going to be weird growing up because CBS was always SEC.
Yeah.
There was always the 3:30 SEC game.
Yep.
And then there would be like an ESPN SEC night game or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it was always the SEC, and Fox and ABC was always the Big Ten. And now it's just going to be we're on a different channel each week. It's what the hell's going on here?
Yeah, the first month's going to be interesting to look at that channel guide and everything and all that stuff.
I mean, it's going to be a little weird, but I mean, I'm cool with it. I would prefer to stay on Fox, I guess, but it's good with me. It's just going to be interesting growing up all these years of seeing it like that, now it's just different. It's like, well,
national draw. Then Brady, your thoughts on the? I know it's been obviously in effect for the last couple of years, but just overall, like, I know I pay attention probably more so on these networks and stuff than you guys would when it comes to this stuff. But like, any thoughts on it? Because it's still going to be kind of weird hearing that SEC on CBS theme when Ohio State plays Akron this year, but you'll be at the game. Yeah,
it's strange. It's definitely going to feel different. Like, I agree that I kind of wish we were on Fox more because that's what I grew up on. Mm-hmm. I think that's like, I just feel like we're playing a big game when we're on Fox. You hear the music on your start.
Well, our big game's on Fox still, which is but
they are.
Overall.
The Michigan game. See the Pitt State announcement today?
No.
Yeah, their whiteout is Washington. Yeah, we're going to be on big noon.
Yeah.
Wait, say that one more time.
Their whiteout a game this year is Washington. They announced it. No. And
Such
so
a miss.
It doesn't necessarily mean we are going to be on big noon,
but
it
could be night. It would just be. They said they're doing some type of
striped helmet.
They're doing
so it's like blue, white, white.
They're striping out.
Yeah, they're like their helmet stripe. They're doing like a stripe out the stadium.
Yeah.
So it'll be blue, white, blue.
Could be night.
It could be night.
Yeah, very well could be.
For our sake, but
the whiteout.
If we're going, we want the whiteout.
We want the whiteout.
But I mean, still, it's going to be cool.
It'd probably be the same atmosphere. It's just not white.
But it's
just more blue.
I also want it to be a night game because we're going there, and I want it to be able to like see everything.
The whole day lead up and everything else.
Get the atmosphere going.
Yeah, exactly. That makes sense.
Brewski's flowing. If you know what I'm saying.
Yes, he is a Brewski guy, man. But again, it's just going to be interesting.
But either way, it's going to be great.
Yeah, without a doubt.
I'll be like 9 of the 12 games probably this year. Because 8 home games and then the Penn State game. So
8 home games. That's crazy to think. That's just like 2022. Actually, was it 8 home games?
It was 8 and 22. Mm-hmm. And 6 last year was the lowest in years.
It was.
I had the tickets.
An actual split with that, but it should be fun. And then
it's going to be great. It's just I thought it was weird. Like they're missing out on this is the last time we play them.
Yeah.
Like set.
Yeah. Because after that,
we don't have a protected game with them anymore. We only have one. Like the Big Ten dropped the ball on that too.
Yeah. We just happen to play them this year.
Yeah.
Yep. And exactly. And then we look at these other conferences. SEC is strictly ESPN ABC. And that gives Chris Fowler and Kirk Hershey an opportunity to call those games and not call any Big Ten games going forward. They got the Big 12 games. They have ACC games. They have SEC games.
They'll call us if we make
the playoffs. The only way. That's the only way.
The playoff divided up in networks. Is it all?
Talking about networks? So ESPN and ABC take a majority of it, but in the first round, Turner Sports actually got added. So there will be 2 playoff games at 1 and 4:30, I believe, or 12 and 4 on TNT this year.
Wow.
Everything else is ESPN.
Wow.
But the first 2 games on Saturday, December 21st, 12 and 4:30 on TNT.
Wow.
So I don't know who the announcers are going to be, if they're going to put some of these NBA announcers on.
Are we going to have Charles and Shaq?
I don't know if they're going to have inside the NBA doing this. This would be pretty funny, and Ernie and all of them. But
I bet they put Charles on one of them.
This is an opportunity. It's his last year in the broadcast. Like, it's an opportunity to put him on there. And be
Charles,
like Chuck and football. Why not? Whatever. Like,
Like, oh my god,
that'd be hilarious.
What a joke!
I don't know who all they would have. Like, if it'd be Brian Anderson calling, I have no idea. And that's for another time down the road. But the TV deals are just going to be kind of odd to take a look at. But once you get a month in,
the
2
good
months
news
in,
is
it's nothing.
If everything goes the way we want it to, we won't be playing that day.
That's true.
We wait in the next week.
We'll be waiting.
Which I'm cool with. I would love to. That'd be a great week. Just watching. We're not.
That's a good
game
reason.
On Friday, and then there's 3. There's a game on the 20th, and then there's 3 on the 21st.
Yep, and that's a good reason to not play home playoff game. Is getting that bye.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, that's exactly why.
That's what I'm saying.
Again, it would be fun to play a home playoff game in Columbus, but we want the top 4. We want the top 4.
We want our season to go the way we want it to go.
Yeah. We don't want losses like that, but it's gonna be big. But again, we'll move toward the end of the episode, all right? And a lot of changes happening. There's a lot of changes on these rosters that we talked about, in April and a little bit of May as well. But the transfer from Ohio State that you're going to keep your eye on the most this season.
Oh,
because there's a lot of them.
Will Howard.
Oh, there you go.
Well, I mean, Will Howard. I mean, I know Caleb Downs is going to be.
Don't take mine after you already said one.
No. I'm not taking. I know Caleb Downs is going to be great. I can, I know Quinshon Judkins is going to
He
be
takes
great.
them all right there.
Well, you get to pick. It doesn't. Hey, no, we got Quinshon
takes them
Judkins
all.
and Caleb Downs. No, I'm taking Will Howard. I'm like saying I know those guys are great.
It's just a short acknowledgement at this point, but
Quinshon or Will Howard, we don't know. We don't know if Will Howard's better than Kyle McCord. We don't. And that's a big question.
In a Buckeye uniform, yes, we don't know that. Yeah,
Yeah,
we don't know that.
I mean, last year he was statistically worse than Kyle McCord.
Yeah.
So, and not saying he will be worse. We need him to be,
good.
Yeah. And I think that he should have a short leash this year. And I think that the next guy up should be Julian Sayin. Not Devin Brown. I want to make that clear.
Oh, Devin Brown sucks.
I agree.
God, he's awful.
Yeah.
Transferred in, please.
And the thing is,
Sorry, you suck.
But the thing is, you have an experienced guy like Will Howard, and normally you're like, okay, it's he has the keys, he can drive this thing. But with the amount of depth Ohio State has a quarterback, with young guys as well, like you mentioned Julian Sayin, Aaron Nolan, a couple guys like that. It's kind of wow. This is a weird situation for Ohio State to be in with this many talented quarterbacks, but not exactly. Again, it's like when JT Barrett was a starting quarterback years before. You could there might have been a gap between Haskins at a point. It might have been a gap with Burrow, but like now it's the young guys coming in are this good. So it's like immediately this good. That's a big difference right there, which
it
is a unique thing to look at. But I want to get your thoughts, Matt, on which transfer to look at.
Seth McLaughlin.
Yeah, went off the board.
You actually took it to heart that I actually took it.
I had to find another one.
Fellow center to center on that. Okay,
just because he's a good player. He really is. Yeah. He struggled a little bit in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah,
and. I just think he's going to be really important for us. Just replacing guys up front and just having a steady center is going to be huge. So him starting at Alabama, being good last year, I'm looking forward to seeing the connection between him and Will Howard and how they help run the offense.
Now, I'm going to swing it right back. I like that pick. I'm going to swing it right back to Brady, a player that's not at Ohio State that you're going to keep your eyes on in the country. That was a transfer coming into this year.
Probably Dylan Gabriel. I think he's probably the best transfer quarterback of the all season in terms of like.
I got one that's better.
All right,
I'm just playing.
But Will Howard or Dylan Gabriel, obviously threw for a lot of touchdowns in his career so far because he's going to be a 7th-year senior. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be sweet if we got Dylan Gabriel?
I would. That's what my hope was. Unfortunately, Oregon probably dropped him a monster bag before we could get in that race.
That's probably the case.
And I don't think that's what we weren't willing to do that in the. I know that we weren't willing to drop a quarterback a monster bag in the portal.
That's very true.
And we gave not that Will Howard got a pretty good amount. I actually know the number. But like not as much as Dylan Gabriel or what Cam Ward wanted to come here. So
that's just crazy.
71-3, Ohio State beats Rice.
Yeah,
that's our first score update of the year. Isn't that wild?
Drink white.
But I think Dylan Gabriel is the most intriguing transfer, other than
what
do you think?
Probably agree with that, but I have another one that I'm going to think about. Florida State's DJU. Just how good Florida State finally got back to being like an elite team last year. And then Jordan Travis with the travesty with his leg. So can DJU perform at a high level and keep Florida State elite? We'll see. I would have to say no, but we'll see.
All right. And
I think I agree with that.
All in agreement on that one, man. It's going to be interesting. But again, college football, we're not that far away.
Oh, we're here.
Week 1 is literally 47 days away. This is pretty crazy. We're getting back. And, if you guys want to, ease the pain of football withdrawal, you got the game now. You can get on the console. Matt's been giving us score updates over this time. He's on it right now.
I cannot wait to go home and watch YouTube streams.
Dude, should I go straight from here to Best Buy and get the game?
You might as well.
I kind of want to play it tonight.
You might
I'm not going to lie.
Yep, do that and get the whole system set up and play that game. You know what? I'm going to fire the PS3 in a little bit, see if it still works, dust it off a little bit, and play some NCAA 13.